Hi everyone and welcome to this video. I'm Inxlaura123 and this is going to be a story time video. I feel like I haven't done a story time video in quite some time. So I was kind of thinking about, what I could talk about in my story time video. I wanted something funny, and if I'm being honest with you, which I always am, I wanted something with a kind of clickbait title vibe. So as you can see from the title, I think this is quite a clickbaity title. So, yes, me and my mum were stalkers. You heard it correctly, stalkers. I know, it's pretty scary, isn't it? Do I look like a stalker? Actually, don't answer that. So, I'm just going to tell you about why I was once a stalker and why my mum was once a stalker. So, this is really embarrassing. Why have I decided to do this video anyway? So basically, when I was a teenager, I'm saying about 12, 13, I kind of stalked-ish, my local postman. So nowadays, there are all different postmen. Actually, postmen and women, post people. And so you don't really know who you're going to get. Like, we have different people every day delivering our post, right? But back in the day, we had the same postman, all the time. It was pretty much the same one. Obviously, you might go on holiday or be off sick, but in general, it was that kind of same person who had that same route all the time, right? So you kind of get to know your postman. Even our milkman. I don't even think they have milkmen anymore. But anyway, back to post, not milk. So we had this postman, and basically I was crushing on him so hard. Like, literally, I was this, girl with those like raging hormones, and, good looking boys and men with, boy bands and stuff were, bringing out those hormones as they do. And basically, whenever he would deliver the post in the morning, sometimes he'd knock, because we'd obviously have things that couldn't get through the letterbox and stuff, like parcels, etc. Right? And because I'd be getting up early and I'd be getting ready for school and stuff, I'd be kind of the one to open the door. And I remember, like, one of the first times I ever saw him, I was like, wow, like, this guy looks like a film star. He's not some old man. He's fit. I probably didn't think that at the time, because we didn't really say fit when I was 11 or 12. But, he was just a handsome guy. And I remember he had, like, long dark hair. Well, I say long, it was kind of like, I don't know, here, like under the ears, kind of. Because back in the day, that was all the style. Well, saying that's coming back in style now, isn't it? Guys with longer hair. But anyway, so, like, hair down to kind of here, really, really dark hair, like dark brown, black hair. And he had these really intense eyes. I still remember it now, because, back in the day. And yeah, so he used to knock on the door now and again, and I'd see him. And it got to a point where I used to think, oh, I can't wait for the postman tomorrow. So what I used to do, the stalking kind of started off in the morning, where I'd peer through the curtain, like this little face would be like, and I'd even get up for school extra early, because he kind of came the same kind of time every morning to, do the post, right? And I'd get up extra early, so I was already kind of dressed and not rushing around for school afterwards. And I would just stand at the curtain, peer, and then I'd quickly pull the curtain away in case he looked up. And then I remember once just kind of having a little chat with him in the morning as I took the parcel in and stuff. And I think it was obviously like a cold time of year, because I remember saying, oh, you must be really cold. Would you like a cup of tea? So he said, oh, that would be lovely, thank you. Obviously, these aren't exact words, because I was very young, but I'm giving you a rough idea of what happened and what was said, right? So anyway, I asked him if he wanted a cup of tea. He said yes. And I went in, I made him a cup of tea, and I remember him standing at the wall with his post bag, or his post sack, oh my. And so, yeah, I made him a cup of tea. And then what would happen is, the next morning, I think, oh, he obviously liked that cup of tea. So I made him another cup of tea the next morning, and it just kind of went on from there. Only it got to a point where I wasn't just making tea, I was making tea, toast, Sometimes if I was being a bit more adventurous, I might put on a bit of strawberry jam. So every time he'd come around, the same kind of time, I'd be just there, waiting, stalking with this cup of tea and toast and stuff. Now, obviously, he knew I was young because I was in a school uniform, high school. And to be fair, he never did anything like dodgy. He wasn't flirtatious. He clearly knew I was, you know, an underage girl. But he was just friendly. He was obviously thinking, oh, this, you know, this poor kid, she's, you know, making me tea and toast every day. She must have a bit of a crush. But he kind of went along with it, and he was friendly. Obviously, he saw my mum as well sometimes in the mornings. And so it was just, you know, it was harmless. But I started to get even more obsessed. And I started to like doing pictures, like drawing pictures and stuff. Which I remember handing him that picture one of the first times, and he was like, oh, thank you. And I kind of felt a bit awkward back then. I was like, maybe this wasn't a good idea. The tea and toast was going well, but then so anyway, it kind of ended. The stalking of the postman ended when my mum had a chat with me one night. Apparently he'd seen her on a morning, she'd answered the door, or seen the post come through or whatever, and he'd had a chat about little old me. And he said that I was really sweet, but it was obviously I was like developing a kind of crush on him, and it was making him feel a little bit uncomfortable and awkward, and he thought, you know, he should tell my parents. And so, you know, he spoke to my mum, and she just kind of told me and said, look, you got to stop this, it's weird. Bearing in mind, I was a teenager, okay? I wasn't like 25 doing this. I was a teenager and I had a crush. To me, he looked like a film star. You know, he wasn't just the postman with his heavy sack of letters. He was a film star. He'd come to my door every day or every other day or whatever. So yes, I did stop my crush. And I kind of felt really uncomfortable around him after that. I kind of avoided him. I'd go to school a little bit earlier. Or I'd be like, oh, can you answer the door, Mum? You know, because I just felt stupid. The fact that he like said something just made me feel like a complete idiot and embarrassed. And I stopped after that. And if I ever did see him, if I did have to kind of open the door, I'd always be kind of like, hi, just took the post and went in. And yes, the tea making stopped, the toast stopped, the drawings stopped. I'm lucky I never got to a stage where I would have started writing poetry or something. It could have gone that avenue. But, you know, it's kind of cringe. It's kind of embarrassing. But, you know, I had a crush. That is that. But it wasn't that. Because a bit of an update on that story of me being a stalker of my postman when I was a teenager is that when I grew up, I think I must have been, I don't know, 24, 25. And back in the day, I was a bit of a pubber clubber. I'm not now. You know, I'm quite happy having a cup of tea, reading a book, watching a documentary, you know. But back in the day, I was a little bit more wild, believe it or not. And I'd be out partying all the time. I pretty much wasn't really at home that much. I was out all the time, every day, you know, every afternoon, every evening. I was like constantly out. And I remember being in this pub called the Alex, where I used to frequent quite a bit. It was kind of like an alternative, rocky kind of pub. And I just felt really comfortable there. And I was a bit of a goth, rocky kind of style. And I remember being there one night, and I had my little group of friends that I'd always hang out with and stuff. And this guy comes up to me, and he taps me on the shoulder. I'm like, who's that? You know, I didn't recognise him. And then he just stares at me. Bearing in mind, this is years later, so, you know. And said, I know you. I remember you. And I was like, I don't know you. I'm thinking, who is this old guy? Like, I don't know who this older guy is, you know. And he said, you used to make me tea and toast in the morning on my round. And I was thinking, what? And then I clicked in. I was like, oh my God, it's the postman. His name was Simon. I don't know how I remember that, but I do. Yeah, his name was Simon. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember just standing there going, I must have gone bright red with embarrassment, cringing. And he said, oh no, I thought it was really sweet, you know. And I was like, oh, you know, you kind of make this conversation, but you're really like hoping the ground just kind of, yeah. And he looked completely different. Like, once I knew who he was, I kind of looked at his face and thought, oh, okay, you are the same person, but you just look old. You look older. And yeah, all his hair, like he had that beautiful, lovely dark hair, all gone. Bald. Just looked kind of haggard. you know, because obviously he was older when I was a teenager. He was a lot older than me, so he got even older when I was older. That's how it works, you know, we all get older. And yes, I was very embarrassed. And he said, oh, you know, how old are you now? And we started talking, and he basically asked me out. And he said, well, now, you know, we should go out to the cinema, we should go for a drink or something. And I was like, no. And I was like, oh, no, I'm with someone. I don't think I was with anyone at the time. I can't remember. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. But I know I just turned him down very politely. But yeah, bit of a turnaround. Having a crush on someone and then years later bumping into him. Yeah, very odd. So that's my stalking experience. I haven't stalked anyone else, by the way. I don't think. No, I haven't. It was my little teenage crush stalking. As for my mummy, she was a stalker as well. I mean, actually, she was more of a stalker than me. At least I only stalked from my house, you know, whether it was out the bedroom window or the front room window or the door, obviously. But my mum used to have a massive crush on a singer called Cat Stevens. I don't think he's got that name anymore. He become a Muslim and he changed his whole name and everything. Like everything about him is completely like changed. But originally he was like most famous as Cat Stevens. I think the most famous song I know him for is Father and Son, which was covered by Boyzone. But anyway, but yeah, he was quite a famous singer here in the UK. I don't know if he was big worldwide, but I know he was famous quite here in the UK. And my mum was obsessed with him. So she found out where he lived. She did tell me, but I can't remember where. But it's somewhere in London, and she was from London. She found out where he lived. And she used to go with her friends to the flat where he lived. And they would stand outside, bearing in mind his name was Cat Stevens, and they would meow really loudly up to his window, and just kind of stalk him every day and wait outside his place. I think that's worse, actually. I would say that is worse. I think she met him a few times. Obviously, when he'd come down, he'd, you know, sign autographs and stuff. You'd think that'd be enough then. She should just kind of go. But no, they still kept going back to his place, standing outside. Meow, meow. Bizarre. I wonder if he ever remembered that when he got, like, older. When I was a young, famous pop star, a group of girls used to stand outside my flat and meow. Probably not, I don't know. But yeah, so, I mean, she used to go to all the Top of the Pops recordings. She used to be in the audience, you know, like on Top of the Pops. Oh, if you don't know, Top of the Pops is quite like was a famous TV show here in the UK. So on BBC One, it was like music show, and there were people in the audience who were like dancing and stuff. And my mum was one of these people who would stand in the audience dancing. And she'd go pretty much every week or every other week to this recording because she lived quite close by. And she used to kind of, you know, follow all the bands around. I'm sure she saw the Bee Gees, she saw the Beatles, you know, when they performing and stuff. So she saw some big bands back in the day. And she'd wait outside and try and, you know. But the one she stalked was Cat Stevens. Maybe I took after her. But I still don't think I was as bad as that. So there we go. I was a stalker. My mum was a stalker. Anyway, I was going to say, let me know in the comments if you've ever stalked someone, but it's not particular. I don't really want anyone who's gone like, actually, yeah, I'm a stalker. No, I don't want to know if you were. And maybe we should just say, did you ever have a crush on someone when you was younger and done silly things like follow them? Still sounds really bad. Did you ever have a postman that you made tea for? I don't know, is that right? Or was there ever a pop star that you used to follow around? I remember when I was at college, I had a friend called Amy. She was lovely. I don't know what happened to her, but she was really awesome. And she used to be like a boy band stalker. And she would do like my mum pretty much, but she'd follow the boy bands like on the road. She'd go everywhere. And I think she went to their places where they lived as well. I don't know. But yeah, it was quite, I don't know what that thing is about doing that. Like, it's a bit weird. But how can I say anything's weird when I made a postman a cup of tea and toast every day? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this random little story time. I'm trying to think of other stuff that I can do story times about. If you've got any ideas of subjects that you want me to talk about, I mean, there's plenty of things I've done. You know, I'm 42. I've been through a lot of, well, good and bad stuff in my life and funny stuff. So if you want to know certain subjects I can do a story time about, let me know. Try and make them fun, though. I don't really want to be sitting here talking about depressing, sad stuff. I'd rather be talking about, you know, funny memories and funny things, or entertaining things at that. But yeah, there we go. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget, click like, comment, share, subscribe, smash the notification bell. Smash it. And don't forget to check out my other channel, Minxlaw123 ASMR. On that channel, I make videos to help people like me with anxiety, insomnia, relaxation videos, basically. So links down below for that. Also links to my social media down below as well. So Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're a bookworm like myself, I'm sitting in front of one of my mini bookcases, actually. Come and follow me on Goodreads, so you can find out books I've read, want to read, etc. Anyhow, I'm going to go and make a nice cup of tea. Not for the postman. Not for Simon the postman, but for myself. I actually told Nathan, my fiance, that I used to do that. And he was like, that is so embarrassing. It is embarrassing. But there we go. See you later, everyone. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.